For a fresh way to Frosty, gotta be Wendy's. Open till midnight or later.
Participating U.S. Wendy's. Hours may vary by location. Oreo is a trademark of Mondelez International Group. Pop-Tarts is a trademark of Kellogg North America Co., LLC.
AM 1060 KDUS Tempe, Phoenix. And KSLX HD2 Scottsdale, Phoenix.
Breaking news, and this one is almost unbelievable.
Yeah, it's all about new customers at Bet365 because they get $150 in bonus bets when they bet $5, win or lose. And even better, bonus bets can be used on the spread, totals, and player props.
There you have it. Bet $5 to get $150 in bonus bets, win or lose. And see why. It's never ordinary at Bet365. 21 plus only. Must be physically located in Arizona. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-NEXT-STEP or text NEXT-STEP to 53342. T&Cs apply. Available in app only.
Every day, savings, energy efficiency, rebates. Every day at APS, you have ways to save energy and money. We know how important it is to keep your bill as low as possible. That's why we offer programs to help you manage your energy use. Schedule a home energy checkup for savings recommendations tailored to your home. Find rebates on smart thermostats. Compare your rate plan options and switch to the plan that would have saved you the most money. Find ways to save at aps.com/brighter.
Every summer, across the valley, hundreds of our homeless neighbors die because of the heat. This is tragic, and it is preventable. None of us can stop the heat, but together we can save lives. With incredible partners like you, Phoenix Rescue Mission is able to provide life-saving water and critical care to our neighbors in need. Join us this summer and make a difference. Learn more at phoenixrescuemission.org/code red.
Hey, it's Austin Clark, owner of Moxie Pest Control. You know, most pest control companies use the same products we do. That's not the difference. But what is the difference is how we treat people. At Moxie, kindness counts, and it shows in every visit, every conversation, and every one of the 6,500 plus five-star Google reviews our customers have written. Our field experts aren't just trained to handle pests. They're trained to treat your home, your family, your pets, and your time with the kind of respect you deserve. And our services come with a pest-free guarantee. Our methods and service just work better because our people are better. So if you want a pest control company you can trust in and around your home, give us a call. We offer same-day services in most cases, and we'll even give you 50% off your first service when you call. Call 888-MOXIE-10. That's 888-MOXIE-10. Moxie Pest Control, the highest and most reviewed pest control company in Arizona.
If you know, you go. At Superstar Car Wash, we're proud to have over 550,000 members. Be in the know and try what everyone loves today. Text SuperAZ to 27800 to get a free Super Protect car wash. Terms and conditions apply.
AM 1060 KDUS Tempe, Phoenix. And KSLX HD2 Scottsdale, Phoenix. It's the lunch break.
Falling further behind in the National League wildcard race, and two major stories around the Phoenix Suns. All of that, the focus of this, the Monday edition of the lunch break here on KDUS AM 1060. Chris Schubert with you for the next 2 hours. Producer Evan is behind the glass. He's taking all of your phone calls, 480-864-1060. Producer Evan, did we have a nice, safe, happy 4th of July weekend?
Yeah, nice weekend. Went home, saw my family a little, got to get to a Phillies game. It's a good time.
But safe festivities, no trouble.
Safe festivities. You know, we're not a big set the fireworks off ourselves. The park across the street from my house does like a professional show. So we just sit there and watch. You can watch it from our yard.
If I go to a 4th of July party, people are breaking out the fireworks, I'm taking 40 feet back. Like if you're doing them in the front yard, I'll just be in the backyard. I'll just see them when they go up over the house.
And
I don't want to be anywhere near them.
Fan, love seeing them.
Great.
Love watching them. They're awesome.
They're fantastic.
I'm okay setting them off. I'm okay.
Love a good fireworks show like at Disney or
at a baseball game. D-backs do a really nice one.
Yeah, I've seen one out in San Diego. Was out there for 4th of July a couple of years ago. Saw one there. They're enjoyable to watch. Being a participant, to your point, I'm good.
Speaking of fireworks, got to see the best pitcher in the National League go to work yesterday.
So those are the only fireworks you needed to see over the weekend. The only fireworks here over the weekend, the fireworks of the post-game fireworks show, because the baseball team didn't provide a lot of fireworks. That's where we will start today's program.
Time for our top story of the day. It's the Daily Special.
I think the best way to do this is to discuss how things have changed since the last time we all got together. It wasn't that long ago. It feels like an eternity, but we were last together here on this program on Thursday, talking about this baseball team, talking about a team that was staring down winning the series against San Francisco, staring down taking 3 of 4, staring down making you feel maybe a little better about getting swept by Miami, also a little more angry about being swept by Miami. That was what was in front of the Arizona Diamondbacks the last time that you and I got together. The last time you listened to this program, the last time I spoke words into this microphone, that's what we were talking about. How different things are from that conversation on Thursday. Because since we had that conversation, this baseball team has lost ground in the standings. They won 1 game since the last time we had a conversation, and it should surprise absolutely nobody that the 1 game that they do win was started by Ryan Nelson, who we last week had a lengthy conversation was pitching his way into your long-term plans, your 2026 rotation. That's what happened since the last time you and I got together. Last time we gathered close and had a conversation about the Arizona Diamondbacks and maybe tried to convince ourselves that a good stretch here could keep them from being sellers and reading again into comments from the general manager, Mike Hayes. And that's what we were doing. We're not doing that anymore. We're done. Last Monday, we said we were done. All week, we said we were done. We're done. This team is done. We are done convincing ourselves, at least I am, that this team is just one nice series away or one nice run away from being a buyer at the deadline, not being a seller. It's July 7th. We lost 4 or 5 since the last time we spoke. Did not play good baseball against the Kansas City Royals. Corbin Carroll came back from his injury, and I'm not putting this on him, but 0 for 9 since coming back from the injury. So you just aren't doing the things you need to be doing. Because, see, they have to convince us. We don't have to convince them. The Arizona Diamondbacks, the players, the coaches, the front office members, the owner, they need to convince us that we should buy back in. Because we're out. I'm out. I know most of you are out. I hear from you every day on this program. I know that you're out. So if they want us to be pulled back in, you got to do a lot more than taking the first 2 games of a series against San Francisco and then losing the next 2 and not winning the series when it was right there in front of you. You got to do a lot more than winning the first 2 against San Francisco and then losing a series to the Kansas City Royals. You have to do a lot more than limping your way into the All-Star break. You have to do a lot more than in your last 9 games that have not been started by Ryan Nelson. This team is 2-5 with a ERA north of 5. They've given up 10 home runs in 9 games. You've got to do a lot more than that as a team. Corbin Carroll has to do a lot better than 0 for 9 since coming back from this injury. You've got to do a lot more than that to convince me to buy back in. I want to buy back in. I'm willing to change my mind. I'm willing to raise my hand and say I was wrong. But this team, this season, continues over and over and over again to prove to all of us just too far uphill to push the snowball. They've let the snowball go too far to the bottom. The hill is too big to climb.
They can't take themselves out of this one.
No, there's no magic answer to all of this. They got to take 3 out of 4 from San Francisco. They didn't do it. They couldn't get swept by Miami. They got swept by Miami. You can't lose 2 of 3 to Kansas City. This team is limping into the All-Star break. And remember what Mike Hayes said. The wild card's got to come back to us a little bit. Well, you know what's happening to the wild card? The Arizona Diamondbacks are turning around and running away from the wild card. Because when we last spoke, it was 3 games, 2.5 games. It's 4.5 games this morning. This team is 4.5 games out of a wild card spot. Last I checked, it's still the same number of teams in front of them. So the hole has gotten bigger, and there's still the same number of teams to leapfrog.
Still have 3 teams in front of you before you even get to the last wild card spot. So 4 teams.
So still the same amount of teams they have to hop over, and they've made it more difficult because they're more games behind.
And now the conversation isn't, okay, there's 3 teams there, but you're 2.5 games back. Now you're 4.5. Right? You don't want to cross that 5 threshold. Then you really start to think it's over.
And I don't want to put a number on it where it's 5, 6, 7 games. Just look at the standings.
I do want to say, like, you know, the Marlins are only 3 games behind you.
You are closer
to the Marlins
than you are
to the wild card spot.
Have a good day, everybody. We're done. We've peaked as a show. I mean, this show is peaked with that comment. There's nothing that we are going to provide, opinion-wise, over the next 2 hours that's better than that. This team is closer to the Miami Marlins. Now, it shouldn't shock anybody because they got swept by Miami last weekend, but they're closer to the Miami Marlins than they are to a wild card spot. And yet, there are some of you out there, not all of you, not many of you, but some of you, that are holding on to this hope that this team is going to figure it out, that this team is going to go on that run. Why? What makes you believe that? What makes you think this team has that run in them? They have constantly shown you they don't have that run. Give me the teams in front of them again.
Do you want from the entire wild card?
Just go from where they are in the standings and just move your way up.
The Arizona Diamondbacks are 4.5 games back. The Cincinnati Reds, 2 games above them at 2.5 games back.
How's Cincinnati doing in their last 10 games? You got that in front of you?
Yeah, 4-6.
So they're 4. Okay, so door open. Cincinnati.
But you've lost a game because you're 3-7 in your last 10.
Put that to the side for a second. Let's just look at these teams. Cincinnati, 4-6 in their last 10.
Yep.
Playing mediocre baseball, door wide open, not taking advantage.
St. Louis Cardinals just a game and a half in front of them, so 3.5 games in front of you. 4-6 in their last 10.
Again, not lighting the world on fire, not going 7-3, 8-2, 9-1, not doing any of that. Door open, not taking advantage.
The San Francisco Giants tied for the last wild card spot. San Diego Padres 4.5 games above you. Both those teams 5-5 in their last 10. Milwaukee a game and a half above them, so 6 games above the Diamondbacks. 6-4 in their last 10. That's the best record of any team of their last 10 above you.
And then the Mets are the top.
The Mets are the top, a game and a half above that. So 7.5 games above the Diamondbacks are the Mets, who are leading the National League wild card. 5-5 in their last 10.
Bunch of mediocre baseball being played by everybody. And you get swept by the Miami Marlins. That San Francisco Giants team that's above you in the standings. You lose the last 2 games of that series. Their record was what, 4-6 in their last 10, 5-5 for the Giants?
The Giants were 5-5 as well as the Padres.
That includes 2 games against you that they won. They could very easily be 3-7 in those 10 games, if not for the 2 games that you lost at the tail end of this series. So there it was. The opportunity was right there in front of you. There's no guarantee of a future opportunity. There's no guarantee that those teams are going to continue to play that way, but they played that way right now. And while you didn't take advantage of playing Colorado and Chicago and Miami, now your schedule gets a little harder and you can't take advantage of that. You can't steal some games there. And while all of these teams are just hovering around 500, 6-4 was the best record that we've seen. That was the Brewers, right? The Brewers were 6-4. That was the best record out of any of the wild card teams in the last 10 games?
The Brewers are 6-4 in their last 10, which is the best record other than the Cubs in the entire National League in their last 10.
And you didn't take advantage. And where did that get you? What's your parting gift? You're closer to the Miami Marlins than you are to a playoff spot in the National League. It's July 7th. There's 24 days until the trade deadline. At some point, the math isn't going to math. At some point, the numbers are not going to be in the Diamondbacks' favor, and we are very quickly approaching that point.
And I want to point something out. John on YouTube says Giants should be 7-3 in their last 10. That's the point, John. You're 7 and they could be 7-3, but they aren't. They're 5-5.
Well,
That's your chance to go catch some games.
And John's talking about that 2 of those games could have flipped and gone the Giants' way, and the Giants could be 7-3. But that's the point we're making, is that the Diamondbacks could very easily say that they could have flipped those last 2 games, and they then aren't 4.5 games back. That's how razor thin it is. That's why every one of these series, every one of these games matters. That's why you can't get swept by Miami. That's why you have to take advantage of 9-game chunks like the one they didn't take advantage of. It's why we harp on these things over and over and over again here on this program. So the last time we talked, there was maybe some positivity starting to creep into the conversation. I think it's all gone after what happened over the weekend.
I think it's out the window.
I think it's out the window. I think for this year, it's out the window. I think Ryan Nelson continues to be a bright spot and was against Kansas City over the weekend.
And there's going to be positive points. If Corbin Carroll goes on another late season run where he gets really hot again, that's going to be something we're excited about. Yeah. There's going to be a lot of positivity. If they do move Suarez and we see Jordan Lawler come up and he kind of goes gangbusters coming back up, that could be something we're really positive. As a team, I don't see the path. Whereas the Suns have started to clear a path for me, the Diamondbacks feels like it's closing on 2025.
I feel contractually obligated, because you mentioned him, to just play the sounder. You mentioned Jordan Lawler. I think contractually I'm obligated to play the sounder. 480-864-1060, the phone number for you to join us here today on the program. We've also got you on the aforementioned KDUS AM 1060 YouTube live stream. You can hop in the chat over there and join the program as well. When we come back, producer Evan mentioned that he can see the Suns' plan. We've seen another part of that plan take shape. We'll talk about that next. It's the lunch break, KDUS, AM 1060.
Ready to tackle each morning with the best sports information coming at you?
I'm going to take a logical approach.
Get that weekday mornings on KDUS AM 1060 from 6 to 9 a.m. with the Dan Patrick Show. Dan Patrick, the Danettes, sports icons, sports legends, celebrities, poll questions. The Dan Patrick Show has it all.
It's a crapshoot.
Be sure to lock your dials to AM 1060 or 100.7 HD2 from 6 to 9 a.m. Mornings just got better.
This story is about us.
Make memories you'll cherish for years to come. Join Miss Appleberry, JJ, Cody, Nina, and Cece for a lively Melon Patch musical adventure in this exciting interactive live show. Saturday, October 4th and Sunday, October 5th at the Arizona State Fair. Sing along. Dance along. Play together. Tickets on sale now at azstatefair.com and include Arizona State Fair admission. It's a celebration of connection and childhood wonder. Coco Melon Sing Along Live inside the Coliseum at the Arizona State Fair.
You want to see the ring? Here, I have a picture.
Wow, look at you.
I know, right? Went to Hellsberg and customized the whole thing.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, well, I showed them all our inspiration photos, picked the setting, the diamond. It's actually pretty fun. Now for the real hard part, asking her.
Well, congrats, buddy. Ring looks awesome.
Start your story with Hellsberg. Designed with care and craft since 1915. Shop in store or at hellsberg.com.
Hi, I'm Andrew the Homebuyer. Selling your house right now the traditional way isn't so easy. The average home is taking months to sell. Fortunately, I can help. I'll come to your home and give you a cash offer within minutes. Then we can close in under 5 days. And I'll make sure you get as much money for your house as possible. Call me, Andrew the Homebuyer, today, and let's get your home sold. Visit andrewthehomebuyer.com. That's andrewthehomebuyer.com.
America. We are endowed by our Creator with certain unalienable rights, life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. By honoring your sacred vocation of business, you impact your family, your friends, and your community. At Grand Canyon University, our MBA degree program is 100% online, with emphases in business analytics and finance to help you reach your goals. Find your purpose at GCU. Private, Christian, affordable. Visit gcu.edu.
This is Brian Weber filling in for Jim with the Rome Report. This holiday week is filled with pyrotechnics, and don't look now, but Major League Baseball is offering some fireworks of its own. You wouldn't know it with all the talking head shows still cramming football into every rundown, even though training camps are still weeks away. Led by the star power of luminaries like Aaron Judge and Shohei Ohtani, baseball's primetime national TV ratings are up. And as of Memorial Day, attendance across the bigs was up 2%. If that stands for the rest of the year, it would be the third consecutive season of attendance growth, which hasn't happened in baseball for almost 20 years. Undeniably, the pitch clock has made the sport much more watchable, both in person and on the couch. So while we're never going to fully turn back the clock to the days when baseball was king, reports of its demise may have been greatly exaggerated. I'm Brian Weber.
O'Reilly. Check engine, ABS, or maintenance light on? Take the guesswork out of your warning lights with O'Reilly Veriscan. The service is free and provides a report with solutions verified by ASE certified master technicians. And if you need help, we could recommend a shop for you. Ask for O'Reilly Veriscan today.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
This is the story of the one. As a lineman, he does whatever it takes to keep the power on in his community. And he wants a partner like Grainger who does the same. Grainger offers the professional-grade products he needs, from voltage detectors to harnesses to hard hats, plus fast, dependable delivery, so he can rise to every challenge. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Join in on the Sports Zoo on your ride home from work with Dave Rooster Bierstein. Join Rooster as he lays down what's happening around sports and makes it clear what's on his mind.
Oh, my.
Catch the day's craziest stories and some of the latest numbers from the sports books across the valley. The Sports Zoo with Dave Rooster Bierstein.
Yeah, I think that's kind of a wild option.
Weekdays, 5 to 6 p.m. on KDUS AM 1060 and on the KDUS 1060 app.
Surprised we didn't open the show with it because it became a theme throughout the week last week. What a disappointing performance from Joey Chestnut in the hot dog eating contest last Friday. I was extremely disappointed watching him be on pace to break his record and not even get close. Dare I say he's washed?
Washed, I don't know. On the back end of his prime, certainly.
I mean, I set the stage last week and I said revenge performance incoming. He did win. Guy was removed, but you knew that. You knew he was going to win. I thought he was just going to embarrass everybody by saying, you kicked me out. Watch what I do now. I'm going to eat 87 hot dogs. That's what I thought was going to happen. And at one point, at about the 5-minute mark, about halfway through, he was on pace for 90 hot dogs. He was on pace for 90. And I said, this is exactly what I thought was going to happen. Now, I'll be the first to admit, I have not watched every single Joey Chestnut hot dog eating contest in my life. So I don't know if this is just what he does, if there's kind of a fading effect.
You would have to imagine.
You would assume.
And I know people are going to say, like, Evan, for how much you talk about it, you should know that if there is or isn't a fading. But I don't watch competitive eating other than once a year.
Right.
And this year, I'm hand up. I was playing golf with my family. I missed it.
I was glued.
Missed it in live.
Glued to the television. I was with a group of friends and we considered wagering on it.
You would have had to bet what, $160 on Joey Chestnut to win 10?
No, if he was minus 1,600, so you would have to have bet $1,600 to win 100. But I was going for the number of hot dogs because I thought it was the lock of the century that he was going to eat 80 hot dogs. I thought it was when we do the Schubert 6, I normally talk, my 5-point plays are just the ones I believe guaranteed are landing. It would have been a 25-point play. Joey Chestnut over 76.5 dogs. I mean, it was a lock, and he didn't get there. So, yeah, washed. Overrated. I'm done with Joey Chestnut. Done with him.
No, he's by far the GOAT of GOATs. There's nobody been in a respective sport or competition that has dominated like Joey Chestnut has.
There was nobody even close to him. That was the other thing that was funny watching it. Like, he's at like 55 hot dogs, and the next closest is at like 32. And you're like, all right, we're done here. Just wrap it up. We can go home.
To be honest with you, he's like, if it was somebody who was just 10 hot dogs and like kind of smashing them that way, it wouldn't be as fun. But because he's so far out ahead.
Oh, it's incredible.
It's awesome.
You don't during the hot dog eating contest, since you didn't watch it, he's the only person the camera is pointing to. It's the crowd, the crowd.
Only Joey.
No, yeah, that's the only person they're keeping on. There was never even like a split screen of somebody that was like maybe keeping it competitive. No, none of it. Absolutely none of it. So disappointed that he didn't get to break the record. Thought it was the lock. So yes, I'm willing to call him washed today here on the program. Washed.
It's a bad take.
Overrated. How about that for a Take Friday on a Monday? The Phoenix Suns made news over the weekend as they agreed to an extension with Devin Booker, 2 years, $150 million. And this extension, we knew was coming. We knew it was going to be offered. We knew it was going to be signed. We knew this day was going to come. So this is not a surprising segment. This is not a surprising conversation. Probably the reason why I felt comfortable having a little hot dog conversation. Because this isn't major breaking news where I've got to hit a sounder and we've got to stop the show in its tracks. My goodness, Devin Booker signed a contract extension. We all knew this was going to happen. We all knew this was going to be offered. We all knew it was going to be signed. Why? Because it made too much business sense for everybody involved. The Phoenix Suns have a plan.
The alignment.
They are trying to untangle the ball of yarn over the last couple of years. They're trying to chart a course to the future. I give producer Evan a lot of credit here. He's said this on the program quite a bit. He could see the vision. After the Kevin Durant trade, after the draft, it's easy to see what they are trying to do. Makes it a lot easier to buy in when you can see what they are trying to do. And of course, because Kevin Durant is out the door, we're going to talk about this to open hour number 2 of the program. Bradley Beal appears to be not that far behind him. This is back to being Devin Booker's organization. This is back to being Devin Booker's team. He is back to being the leader of this squad. So it is not a surprise that when given the opportunity to put that extension in front of him, when trying to put together that long-term vision, to have that plan that everybody can see, you want to be able to say, yeah, we've got Devin Booker for the next however many years. And so this 2-year contract extension adds on to his existing deal. It's going to pay him a pretty penny, $75 million a season. And I'll take a quick detour here to let everybody know that you don't have to like it. You can think it's an overpay. You can think Devin Booker's not worth $75 million. You can think that nobody in the NBA is worth $75 million a season. But my message to you today is you got to get with the times. You have to just accept that this is the cost of doing business. This is the cost of doing these extensions. This is not an outlier. This is not Matt Ishbia saying, I'm just going to run up the bill for everybody else. This isn't a quarterback being paid $65 million and now resetting the bar for everybody else. This is the way the NBA operates. The numbers escalate as the cap keeps going up. And as you continue to sign these extensions, what these guys are able to make continues to go up and up and up. And if you have a Supermax player, if you have a extension eligible player and you want to offer them the most amount of money, this is the tax bracket that you now find yourself in. The cost of doing business. I'm not saying you have to like it. I'm not saying you have to be okay with it. I'm not saying that it's overall a good thing that these contracts are getting this out of control. I do worry that if the TV deals start to get a little weird, what does that look like? Is there a bit of a pullback? But they just signed a new TV deal, so kick the can down the road. Worry about that later. Continue to watch the cap go up 7 to 8% every year. This is just the way things are. And if you want to keep Devin Booker around, then this is what you had to do. There was no negotiation and saying, oh, Devin, we'll give you 45, we'll give you 55 and get a discount. No, this is how it works. This is what you have to do. So this shouldn't be surprising. This shouldn't change how you feel. This is all a part of the plan that
the alignment
Brian Gregory and company are putting together. This extension, We thought Joey Chestnut, 77 hot dogs was the lock of the century. Devin Booker getting and signing this extension was the lock of the century. Now, one word of caution for everybody. This doesn't mean Devin Booker is a Sun for life. This doesn't mean that we may not be presented with a summer of Book, just like we had a summer of Durant. I got to see how this team plays. I got to see how this roster gets put together. But right now, Devin Booker has made it clear that he wants to be here in Phoenix, that he wants to stay here, that he wants to be a forever Sun. Signing this extension at least moves us further down that path, but it also creates great leverage for both sides. Because if the Phoenix Suns decide, you know what, this just isn't working. This is just not how we thought it was going to be. And now our best trade asset is Devin Booker. Can you imagine what you're going to get for Devin Booker, who's under contract for multiple seasons? You're not getting a one-year rental. This isn't Houston getting Kevin Durant for one season. This isn't getting somebody for 1 year or 2 years. This would be getting Devin Booker for multiple years. A lot of value in that. So it's the right thing to do by the organization. It's the right thing to do for Devin Booker, but it's also the right hedge for the organization if they want an escape pod later on, because now they have Devin Booker under control for multiple years. The right thing to do across the board.
It is the inevitable slam dunk, however you want to call it, move that we knew was just the next move on the chessboard. To start every game, you're going to move the pawn to start. That's what they did today.
Yeah, this wasn't a nifty move to put your, I'm going to really show my lack of chess knowledge, putting your rook in a spot that's a big brain move that sets you up really well, right? That's not what this was.
No.
This is just going to move this pawn right here. Just a nice little move. This was, when we did our list last week, my number 5 thing that they needed to do. Extend Devin Booker. Because we all knew it was coming. We all knew it was the thing they needed to do next. We all knew why it made sense across the board. So what does this mean? Doesn't really change a whole lot. Gives the Suns a better financial picture. They know when that bill comes due, he's owed $75 million, and they can factor that into their future cap math. So it creates some certainty in that regard. But other than that, changes nothing for the foreseeable future of the Phoenix Suns. This was just all part of the plan. This was the next thing, as you said, on the checklist.
And they got it done. Listen, that's what it's all been about this offseason for them. And as somebody who has said it before, bang, 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 just checking them off.
Checking them off. And it looks like they're going to check off another thing on that list. Maybe not in the right way, but it looks like they're going to check another thing off that list here pretty soon. 480-864-1060 is the phone number for you to join us here today on the program. Appreciate you joining us here on the Monday edition. We've also got you over on the KDUS AM 1060 YouTube live stream. When we come back, he's kind of the centerpiece of their offense. Is he underrated? It's next. The lunch break, KDUS AM 1060.
The Varsity Sports Show with Vince D'Alessio is your hub for everything high school and college sports. Join Vince and friends as they give you the full picture on student athletes and where they're heading. Live interviews with coaches across the valley.
Asking some of the tough questions.
Varsity recaps and in-depth interviews with tomorrow's sports stars. The Varsity Sports Show with Vince D'Alessio. Live every Saturday morning from 9 to 11 a.m. Here on KDUS AM 1060 and on the KDUS 1060 app.
The Mazda More to Move You sales event is going on now at Mark Mazda in Scottsdale. Right now, receive 1.9% financing for up to 60 months on the brand new 2025 Mazda CX-50 or CX-50 Hybrid.
Or receive $10,000 off the top of MSRP when you lease a brand new 2025 Mazda CX-70 or CX-90 plug-in hybrid. Think of how low your payment will be with those savings. Go to markmazdascottsdale.com.
The name to remember, Mark Mazda, Mark Mazda, on approved credit plus $998 fee.
9 Inch Nails. Live at Footprint Center, September 16th. Get tickets now at NIN.com. 9 Inch Nails, live in Phoenix. Peel It Back World Tour 2025.
Parents, the new school year is rapidly approaching, and that's why we are here to help you get everything on your list. Scheels has Chandler's largest selection of your family's favorite back-to-school brands, from Nike, Birkenstock, and Jordan to On Running, Awala, and more. Plus, our experts are here to make your back-to-school shopping fun and easy. Get all the essentials your kids need to feel confident heading back to school at Scheels, located at the Chandler Fashion Center.
Hey, it's Big Cat from the Pardon My Take podcast. If you're looking for a drink that keeps the fun going without weighing you down, pick up some Truly Hard Seltzer. It's crazy refreshing, comes in tons of different flavors, and has only 100 calories per serving. Truly makes it easy to keep the fun going with your crew, which is exactly why it's the official hard seltzer of Pardon My Take. Whether you're out with friends, hosting a game day at home, or just kicking back, grab a Truly Hard Seltzer. Pick it up at your local Total Wine, Walmart, or Circle K, because there's always a lot of party left, Phoenix.
Pool season is coming in hot. Before you make a splash, assign a water watcher to help keep kids safe. A water watcher is a capable adult who knows how to swim and perform CPR in case of emergency. Make sure they put away any distractions and actively monitor everyone in the group while around water. After everyone is done swimming, water watchers should scan the bottom of the pool and close and lock the pool gate behind them. Ready for more water safety tips? Visit srp.net/pool.
This fall, choose Primavera Online, and you'll be choosing a school with flexibility, personalized support, and an award-winning curriculum that's over 20 years strong. Now enrolling grades K to 12 at chooseprimavera.com.
At the UPS store, we ensure your small biz stands out with a variety of high-quality paper stock options, banners, posters, brochures, and more. Most locations are independently owned. Product services, pricing, and hours of operation may vary. See Center for details. The UPS store. Be unstoppable. Come into your local store today and get your print on.
James Out West, your home for sports down here in the desert. Join James and Pat the Stat Guy as they recap the weekend and dive deep into the numbers for the NFL, NBA, college sports, and more.
That's 5 seasons of 1,200 yards.
Player stats, team numbers, and contracts are just the start of the discussion for James and Pat.
He started 815 career games. He threw 749 complete games.
There's no hiding when it comes to stats. It's James Out West every Monday night from 6 to 7 p.m. right here on KTUS AM 1060 and on the KTUS 1060 app.
Back here on the lunch break, KDUS AM 1060. Chris Schubert with you. We got buy or sell coming up in close hour number 1 of the program in about 10 minutes from now. Producer Evan, what do we got coming up here in buy or sell? I will let everybody in. We'll pull the curtain back just a little bit. We had the morning meeting this morning. We put together the show. We felt pretty good. At one point, we were sitting there, and sometimes producer Evan and I just are living in our own little worlds in the same room. I'm working on just teases and getting the show lined up and ready to go since we've got the topics. He's working on buy or sell or the leftovers because I'm not allowed to see any of that stuff. And so there's some silence in the room sometimes. And he just gets up, maybe about 45 minutes before the show is about to start. And he goes, just going to go take a lap. I need a couple more things for buy or sell. I'm just going to take a lap of the building. All right.
It is a heavy baseball buy or sell today.
Heavy baseball.
Obviously some news in the baseball this weekend. Okay. Got some team rosters. It could be some buy or sells based on this.
Not the sport I thought would be heavily featured today. I won't lie. I thought it was going to be a very nothing wrong with it. I just thought it was going to be a more basketball themed edition of buy or sell. So I'm very intrigued to see what you have put together. That's all I'll say. We didn't mention football, but that's what we are talking about right now because there's a player that is the centerpiece to everything the Cardinals want to be identity-wise on offense. And even after another great year last year, even after getting a contract extension and cashing in and getting rewarded for his good play, I am starting to wonder if nobody is paying attention to how good James Conner is as a running back. What sparked this? Story on ESPN this morning from Jeremy Fowler. Executives, coaches, scouts rank NFL's top 10 running backs for 2025. And when I say I'm starting to wonder if James Conner is underrated, I say that because he wasn't on the list at all. He was not in the top 10. He was listed as the last honorable mention. The last one. And no, the honorable mentions were not in alphabetical order. Because if they were, then he would have been towards the top. So it told me that is a ranking that he was the last guy to get in on the honorable mention list. Some of the names in front of him, the top 10, shouldn't surprise anybody. Saquon Barkley at number 1. Derrick Henry at number 2. Jahmyr Gibbs at number 3. Bijan Robinson, number 4. Christian McCaffrey, number 5. Josh Jacobs, number 6. Jonathan Taylor, number 7. James Cook, number 8. Joe Mixon, number 9. Alvin Kamara, number 10. The honorable mentions: Bucky Irving, Aaron Jones, Devon Achane, Breece Hall, James Conner. Then there was a tier of the also receiving votes group. But James Conner not in the top 10. And I look at this list. I see Alvin Kamara. We went through this list in the morning meeting, and producer Evan just had one-liners for all of these players as to the reason why they shouldn't be on the list. And Alvin Kamara, not healthy enough. Joe Mixon, is he really the player that he was in Cincinnati? James Cook, like James Cook. Do you love James Cook? Jonathan Taylor, all right. This feels like a perfect landing spot for him because if he was fully healthy, he would be higher up the list. So you feel okay about that. Josh Jacobs had a good year last year, so you can't complain too much about that. And then I have no complaints about the top 5. McCaffrey, Bijan, Gibbs, Henry.
McCaffrey, I honestly.
Barkley. You were very bothered by Bijan in the morning meeting. You were very bothered by it.
The two that bother me there are Bijan and McCaffrey. Like, I just, and maybe it is just complete no faith in the Falcons organization as a whole. But, and he was awesome last year. Like, he had 1,400 yards. I don't know.
No, this is
like, he just doesn't.
This is sour grapes because you've bet on Bijan and he hasn't done.
Yes,
that's exactly what this is.
It is.
And we've had this conversation before because I've been in the same boat.
But I don't know. And maybe it's because I'm so used to, or like, maybe it's because I think he's a tier below. Maybe he is in the top 5, but the top 3 are so much better to me that it's not even close. Every time Saquon, Gibbs, or Henry touches the football, you're like, oh, he could go. And I don't get that with Bijan.
No, I do. I don't get that way with McCaffrey anymore.
I don't either.
I used to. Probably 2 years ago, the answer to that question is yes. But I don't think that anymore.
And I don't know what it is. I don't feel that for Bijan.
Again, I think it's sour grapes. I think you've had way too many touchdown parlays that involve Bijan Robinson where he doesn't get in there and you're just mad at him now. I think that's what it is.
Like, I don't know. The Ravens, the Eagles, the Lions can run a dive that could go 80 at any given moment. The Falcons can't.
Yes, fair enough. The Eagles and Ravens, and to a certain extent the Lions, run-heavy teams.
100%.
I think the Falcons want to be a run-heavy team. I just don't know if they have all of the personnel to be able to do it.
And part of the knock on Bijan for me isn't actually him. I have no faith in the organization to do the right thing.
Right. So then I think that's a different list.
Yeah.
I think what you are getting at is a different list. I think from a pure talent perspective and a pure production perspective, he's a top 5 running back. Is he going to have top 5 production? That's where what you want to talk about comes into play of scheme. Do I trust the coaching staff? Do I trust them to give him the right opportunities? They've got a couple of backs in that room. That's when you can start to layer all that other stuff in and say, you know what? No, I'd rather have Josh Jacobs than Bijan Robinson. I'd rather have James Conner than Bijan Robinson because the opportunity is better there. That's where you can start to make that argument to make that case. But just on pure talent, I mean, Bijan might be the best pure talented running back in the NFL. He might be more talented than Jahmyr Gibbs.
Not than Saquon.
But Jahmyr Gibbs has so many opportunities that it's easy for him to have better numbers at the end of the year. But this is supposed to be a James Conner conversation, not a Bijan Robinson conversation. Because James Conner's not listed in the top 10. He's listed as the last honorable mention. And I think this is another exhibit A that I would submit to the jury of, if you don't win in the NFL, boy, does nobody pay attention to you. If you are not winning games and playing in prime time and making the postseason and playing on national TV where everybody's watching you, you can just be anonymous.
Fade off. Yeah.
Because James Conner should be anything but anonymous. James Conner should be anything but an honorable mention on this list. He is, I said it in the tease, he is the identity of this team offensively. It's the reason why they gave him the contract extension. Because whatever we think about Kyler Murray as a quarterback, this is a run-first offense. This is a team that loves, under Jonathan Gannon, to run the football, grind the game to a halt, and play great defense. That's the way they want to play. And the only reason why they're able to do that is because of how good James Conner is. Now, each of the players had a quote next to them. And so the quote for James Conner in the honorable mention came from an executive, a NFL personnel evaluator. Quote, he is a load to bring down, short strider with quick feet to slip tacklers, find slices of daylight, good second-level burst, runs behind his pads, finisher, underrated player. See, to this NFL personnel evaluator and to anybody else in this list, everybody gather real closer. Let's see if I can do this. If you think he's underrated, then rate him correctly in the thing where you're rating the running backs. I mean, this is not hard. The entire design of Jeremy Fowler talking to you was, I want you to rate the running backs. So if you think that James Conner is underrated, then put him higher on the list. It's not hard. If you think he's not talked about enough, here is your platform to talk about him more. Here is your platform to make him the 4th, 5th, 6th best running back on your personal list. This is not the time to give a quote and say, yeah, well, nothing really I can do. Just a really underrated player. Not sure why people aren't talking about him more. Here's your chance to talk about him more. But nobody is going to talk about James Conner, and nobody is going to talk about Trey McBride, and nobody is going to talk about the stars, Marvin Harrison Jr., that this team has on offense, unless they're winning football games, unless they're being exciting, unless they are doing what we think they can do. So James Conner, underrated at this position. Another example of it, the last honorable mention, didn't even make it inside the top 10 on this list. 480-864-1060, the phone number for you to join us here today on the program. A baseball-heavy themed edition of Buy or Sell coming up next. It's the lunch break, KDUS, AM 1060.
Attention all clones. The Jim Rome Show is here for you every day here on KDUS AM 1060.
Lots to get done. Welcome to the program.
Listen in as Rome dives into the biggest sports headlines of the day. From final scores, player contracts and trades, team prospects, and even a spicy take or two. The Jim Rome Show, 1 to 4 p.m. every weekday here on KDUS AM 1060.
That's the trick.
Online at KDUS1060.com and on the KDUS 1060 app.
As the old saying goes, size matters.
At Morgan & Morgan, we have over 1,000 lawyers and nearly 6,000 people on staff.
But at the core, this is and always has been a family business.
Our family watching out for your family.
Call us or email us 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, even on a Saturday or a Sunday.
And if you ever have a problem, call our mom.
Morgan & Morgan.
For the people and your family.
Injured? Dial Pound Law or visit forthepeople.com for an office near you.
Life doesn't wait, and neither should you. Aleve can help you deal with pain less throughout your day. Whether it's a long day on your feet, a demanding workout, or everyday aches and pains, you need relief that can keep up when pain persists. Aleve is here for you with longer-lasting body pain relief compared to leading OTC-branded pain relievers. With just one pill, Aleve lasts up to 12 hours. Don't let those aches hold you back from doing what's important to you. Use as directed.
Stevie Nicks. One special night, October 7th, PHX Arena. Tickets on sale now at livenation.com. Don't miss Stevie Nicks live at PHX Arena.
Hi, Luis Gonzalez here. Want to bet? Feel the thrill of Casino Arizona with 1,400 of the hottest slots and nonstop table game action. We make winners, no experience necessary. Join us for the best bingo in the valley with daily sessions. Indulge in all-you-can-eat Eagles buffet or enjoy fine dining experience at the award-winning Choya Steakhouse. Enjoy top-notch local entertainment, tribute bands, and viewing parties at CAZ Sports Bar, just off the 101 in McKellips. Casino Arizona, uniquely Arizona.
Ready to tackle each morning with the best sports information coming at you?
I'm going to take a logical approach.
Get that weekday mornings on KTUS AM 1060 from 6 to 9 a.m. with the Dan Patrick Show. Dan Patrick, the Danettes, sports icons, sports legends, celebrities, poll questions. The Dan Patrick Show has it all.
It's a crapshoot.
Be sure to lock your dials to AM 1060 or 100.7 HD2 from 6 to 9 a.m. Mornings just got better.
This story is about us.
Back here on the lunch break to close up hour number one here of the show. Buy or sell? 5, 6, sometimes 7 topics.
We have 5 today.
Okay.
And I will start with our lone basketball topic.
Oh, coming out of the gates with the basketball, not saving it for last. Okay.
We will be able to get a glimpse of the Suns' new team culture as Summer League begins.
It's a clean slate. I haven't bought or sold anything all week because it's Monday. It's
0-0 this week.
0-0 so far. What was the comment? Well, this will be our first real look at the Suns' culture during Summer League?
Correct.
This feels like one of those I want to just kind of be in the middle. I don't want to hard buy, but I don't want to like hard sell it either. I will tentatively sell.
Early sell. And that's because you were buying so heavy last week.
No, I think it's because
13-2 on buy or sell last week.
Really? I bought 13 times and only sold twice? Wow, that's very positive for me. It just feels maybe a little too early to start to see the breadcrumbs, right? Now, yeah, Ryan Dunn's going to be there. Oso Iguodala's going to be there. All the picks that they had from this year's class, some young players that they want to take a look at. So you're going to see that grit, I think. You're going to see that physicality, and it's going to be our first look at all these guys. So I can understand it from that perspective, but we're not really going to see the way this team's going to want to play until I'm watching Devin Booker and Jalen Green and Dylan Brooks. And there's reports that they're taking offers on Richards and O'Neal and Allen. Who knows what this roster is going to look like?
No, and I, by the way, take all the offers you can. If somebody phone rings, answer.
What do we say on this program all the time? Answer the phone.
Answer.
No harm in answering the phone.
With that being said, the Summer League rosters did come out. I don't know if you noticed, but Ryan Dunn, Oso Iguodala on the roster.
Yeah, good.
Is that something you're surprised about?
No, these are young players. These are young players that, let's face it, in Dunn's case and Oso's case, I want them at this stage of their career to get as many reps as possible. This is where you're going to know. This is where the player development.
The alignment.
Brian Gregory, this is supposed to be what you're good at. Jordan Ott, this is supposed to be what your background is in. So you're going to put systems in place. You're going to put programs in place. You're going to develop these players. And so I want to see them out there and participating in these types of environments because it's what's going to allow them to very quickly determine, is this a piece to build around or is it not? I have almost assumed to a fault that Ryan Dunn is going to be able to do enough offensively to be a part of this rotation and a piece to build around. But that's not a guarantee. That's not a lock. He's got to show it. And so any chance he gets to improve that side of the ball, because he is an NBA-ready defender. He can play right now as a starter and give you NBA top-tier, A-tier level defense. It's the offensive side of the ball that was too inconsistent in college. And you saw great flashes during the year. I want to see those flashes turn into just a beacon of consistency. The way you do that, reps, more opportunities. Good that they're in the Summer League. I'm going to soft sell that it's going to be this just huge breakthrough and we're going to see the Suns culture brand new on display. Culture doesn't happen in 6 weeks. Culture doesn't even happen in 2 months, 6 months. takes time. Takes a lot of time, a lot of effort, a lot of those personal connections between coach and player, between GM and player, to identify the right things to put this culture in place. So I will soft sell.
Merrill Kelly was snubbed of an all-star spot.
Diamondbacks got 3 all-stars.
He did, which decent amount. Corbin Carroll, an all-star. That one was one I was curious to see if he got it.
Were you worried that because of the injury he wasn't going to get in?
Yeah.
He's healthy and was having a fantastic start to the year.
And I just thought as we approached it, I was like, I feel like Suarez has a better chance. And both get in.
And they both get into and joining the starting second baseman of the All-Star game, Ketel Marte. You're asking me if Merrill Kelly was snubbed. Who were some of the other pitchers? I didn't see the list come out. I was off the grid over the weekend. I know Yamamoto's in there. Paul Skeens is in there. I'm trying to remember who else I saw, because I saw videos of certain players like being told they're going to the All-Star game.
Yeah, that's a pitcher list. I got the position players.
That's going to determine whether or not he's a snub, right? If there's somebody that I can easily identify and say, I'll take that guy out and put Merrill Kelly in, then yeah, he's a snub. But if you just go down the list and start, and it's like this,
bang, bang, bang,
and it's just Cy Young candidate after Cy Young candidate, like it's just going to be hard for me to sneak Merrill Kelly in there. Zach Wheeler's probably an all-star, no?
Yes.
Okay,
yes.
So I named 4 pitchers that I think are all-stars. It's tough to crack
the National League. Jason Adam.
Okay.
This is right. Zach Wheeler.
Okay.
Yamamoto.
Yep.
Logan Webb.
Yep.
Paul Skeens.
Yep.
Chris Sale.
Yep.
Randy Rodriguez.
Wait a minute. That's potentially the spot for Merrill Kelly.
Here we go. Here comes a list. You're gonna get.
Well, Chris Sale's not going to participate. A spot's going to open up.
Chris Sale, Randy Rodriguez, Robbie Ray, who's been good this year. Clayton Kershaw gets the legend pick, we're calling it now. Freddie Peralta, Mackenzie Gore.
Mackenzie Gore's been good this year.
Matthew Boyd.
Okay. I mean,
a lot of okay.
Some spots are going to open up because like Chris Sale's not participating. So there's going to be an injury replacement there. So
And everybody knows they're going to have Clayton Kershaw pitch the 9th. Everybody, I mean, that's the lock of all locks.
Listen, we've been doing a lot of lock of all locks here on the program, and we don't have a great batting average.
Yeah, we don't hit on those.
So let's just be careful. Let's not self-own ourselves and create a new bid on the program. Let's just be very careful here. I will reserve judgment on him being a snub until I see who participates and who doesn't participate and what spots open up.
So, okay.
I'm going to sell for the moment.
Well, we don't have to do that yet. We're going to call the store. They're going to keep it on hold. We don't know if we want it yet.
So but I'm not putting it on layaway.
You can put it on hold.
Because I put it on layaway. That means I gotta put a deposit down. I'm not interested in putting a deposit down on this buy or sell just yet. So yeah, if I can put it on hold and you're not asking me to put down a deposit, then
you have 48 hours.
Fine.
On hold.
Put a hold, and then we'll revisit this on Wednesday's buy or sell. Remember this.
The Diamondbacks would be wrong to go would it be wrong to not go all in at sellers and move everyone they can?
You put a double negative in there, so I want to make sure I do this correct.
Yeah, sorry.
If I'm buying this take, I'm saying that they need to be sellers.
They need to be all in on being sellers.
Then that's the one I would like. Put that. You don't even need to put it on layaway. I'll give you the credit card. I'm buying 3 of them. That's how strong I feel about this take.
And everybody, not just.
No, we're not moving this guy, but holding on to this guy. And no, everybody. Naylor, Suarez, Miller. Somebody wants to call about Kelly. Somebody wants to call about Gallen. Somebody wants to talk about an outfielder. You want to talk about anybody on my roster, I will pick up the phone. And then if you ask about Corbin Carroll or Ketel Marte or Geraldo Perdomo, I will hang up the phone on you. But everybody else, I will stay on the line and we will have a conversation. Buy. All in on being sellers. That's what this team needs to do.
The next one, building off that, Eugenio Suarez will get the largest return of anyone at the trade deadline.
Talk a little bit about this in hour number 2 of the program. There was an anonymous quote in an Athletic story that we're going to talk about in the second hour that mentioned that Josh Naylor might be the best pure bat available on the market. So whether it's Suarez or Naylor, it feels like the Diamondbacks have the power bat market covered, and they have it this is where things get really fun for them from both sides of the plate. You have a lefty-heavy lineup. You need a right-handed power bat. Eugenio Suarez is your guy. You are a righty-heavy lineup. You need a left-handed power bat. Oh, Josh Naylor's your guy. The Diamondbacks can be a one-stop shop for everybody at the deadline.
No, it is insane. I've never seen a team that's going to be sellers that is going to be the belle of the ball like the Diamondbacks.
And that is what we are going to talk about in hour number 2 of the program, because the Diamondbacks are known for something when they play baseball. They're now doing it outside of the game of baseball. How about that for a tease for hour number 2 of the program? How about that? 12:15 coming up. I'll explain exactly what I mean by that. So I put something on hold. I bought 3. Sold 1.
Bought 1.
I bought 1.
No, you bought 2.
2.
Sold 1.
Sold
put
1
on hold. We didn't get to the 5th.
We'll get to the 5th at the top of hour number 2. How about that? I promise that we'll get to that before we get into Bradley Beal and his future. Looks like a buyout is coming. We'll talk about it next. It's the lunch break, KDUS, AM 1060.
AM 1060 KDUS Tempe Phoenix and KSLX HD2 Scottsdale Phoenix.
Global Credit Union, how can I help you?
It's one of those voice prompts.
Representative! Good morning. How can I help?
Wait, is this a real person?
It's 2 a.m.
We're here to help members 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year.
Impossible.
At Global, possible.
Learn more at globalcu.org.
Global Credit Union, your world of financial possibilities.
Nitro Circus is back with the all-new Off the Rails Tour. World-class daredevils and FMX, BMX, skate, scooter, and more. Jaw-dropping stunts, high-flying tricks, and never-been-done showdowns. Friday, December 5th, Desert Diamond Arena. Visit Ticketmaster.com.
It's time to talk Grizzly.
The air conditioner made specifically for Arizona summers.
Alaskan AC introduced the Grizzly a couple years ago, and the reviews are pouring in.
This one says, I love how quiet it is. I can hardly hear it come on, but I'm always comfortable.
Another person writes, finally an air conditioner that can withstand the desert heat and dust.
This one says, I like its fluffy fur and cute black nose.
Anyway, if it's time to upgrade your AC, you can't do better than the Grizzly.
Only available at Alaskan AC.
People love it.
Like this person who said, we live in an older home and the Grizzly keeps us comfortable in every room.
Or this guy. We live just outside of town and the dust is horrible. Glad we have an AC that can take it.
Or this one. He's so cuddly and has these adorable pads on his paws.
Gary, I think you're on a different webpage.
Gary, I think you're different.
Learn more about the Grizzly at AlaskanAC.com.
Hey, it's Pat. The other day at work, they brought in pizza for lunch. So I swooped in and I grabbed 3 slices. The coworker next to me said, geez, Pat, you can't have it all. Then I corrected him and said, yeah, I can. And you can too. With a new 2025 Toyota truck. Power and performance, capability and reliability. Well, I must have convinced him because he grabbed the plate out of my hand and he said, good point, Pat.
Right now, get low 1.99% financing for 72 months on a new 2025 Tundra. Or get 4.99% 60-month financing on Camry, Corolla, RAV4, and Grand Highlander. Plus, check out great lease deals on any new Toyota. Visit your Valley Toyota dealer or valleytoyotadealers.com today. Toyota, let's go places. 1.99% with $14.75 per thousand borrowed for 72 months. 4.99% with $18.87 per thousand borrowed for 60 months. Offers end 8/4/25 and exclude TRD Pro models. See dealer for details.
AM 1060 KDUS Tempe Phoenix and KSLX HD2 Scottsdale Phoenix.
Hour number 2 of the lunch break here on a Monday. Appreciate you joining us. Chris Schubert with you. Because I am such a blabbermouth, did not get to all the buy or sells in the last segment. So before we dive into the main topic here to start hour number 2 of the program, that being Bradley Beal and his impending buyout, I did promise producer Evan that he could get to the last buy or sell because we keep track of these things. Very important to do things the right way. So what is the last buy or sell for us here in today's edition of the program.
The NL Central has been the most surprising division in baseball.
The NL Central is the most surprising division in baseball. Cardinals have been better than anticipated. Cubs are really good. Brewers are
in a spot.
Brewers are good. Reds are okay.
I mean, you're in a serious situation where you could get 3 NL Central teams, and people before were calling them the worst division in baseball.
Well, you're not getting 3 NL East teams anymore.
No, the Braves,
they're done.
Stink.
Yes, stink out loud is how I would describe
They're
it.
going to finish 5th in the division.
It's certainly looking that way. Not having Chris Sale is just brutal for them. They don't have enough offense. Acuna is trying to do it all himself. It's just not working. So you're only going to get 2 teams out of the East. Are you getting 3 teams out of the West? Probably, right?
I would assume.
Because that's how you get to the 3 wild card teams.
I just think, you're going to have, could you get 2 from each division? Could you get 2 from the Central, 2 from the West, 2 from the East? The 2 from the East are a lock.
It's the Phillies and the Mets.
The Phillies and the Mets are pretty much in.
In whatever order, division winner, wild card team, however it's going to break
They
down.
just feel like 2 of the better teams in the National League.
Yep.
And there's kind of a clump of 4 teams that sit above the rest of the National League.
Yep.
The Brewers, the Padres, the Giants, Cardinals, and you can throw the Reds in there. It's going to be a really interesting race to end the season.
If I was going to pick of that group, I don't trust the Reds. You got to prove it to me first. You got to do it, right? I've been picking you to win the division the last couple of years, and you have not even been close to doing that. The Brewers, I'll buy, been there, done that. They know how to do this. They know how to play well enough to get into the playoffs.
They're young, but have a nice veteran presence.
Great manager who's going to know what buttons to push, what buttons not to push. So they feel like an easy team to have as one of the wild card teams, just because been there, done that.
Trust them.
You trust them, yes. Do you trust the Padres? Do you trust the Giants?
Isn't that interesting? It's one of the Padres are just, and they've been there. They just feel like somewhere along the line they're going to stumble.
But they also don't feel like the team that they were last year or the team that they were 2 years ago.
Certainly not.
So that's where you start to lose trust in them, because you think, well, the 2 teams previously that were better than this version didn't do it, didn't go far, didn't make a run. And you feel like this is a more diminished version, although they're getting you Darvish back time. That could help.
I was going to say,
That
I
should
don't
help.
trust that pitching staff in general, though.
Well, you're getting back potentially the ace of that staff. So to have Cease Darvish is going to set you up pretty well. 1-2. So the NL Central is the most surprising division. I'll buy. Put it on the list. I'll buy that one as well. Speaking of buying, the Suns are going to buy out Bradley Beal's contract and move on and close this chapter of Phoenix Suns basketball. And it appears as though they are going to do it in a way that, to me, feels like the wrong way to approach this. Feels like the way, I don't like the play, that you just don't feel like it's the best use of their resources. Because what they're going to do is, it looks like, all reporting, saw a tweet from Gerald Bourguet of PHNX Sports covering the Suns, saying that, according to sources he's spoken to, that the expectation is that they're going to buy out Bradley Beal, and he expects that $13.9 million is going to be given back by Bradley Beal to facilitate this buyout of the $110 million that he is owed on the remaining 2 years. And if he agrees to give that money back, the Suns will waive and stretch the remaining, I think it's $96 million that is owed to Bradley Beal, and they will do it over the 5 years that you are allowed to in the waive and stretch provision. Now, we need to be fair here on this program. We need to talk about the pros, and we need to talk about the cons of doing it this way. Because there is one major pro to being able to waive and stretch Bradley Beal. Getting him to agree to take $14 million less in a buyout, which would be the mid-level exemption that he would get from someplace else. And to waive and stretch this over 5 years to lower the amount that Bradley Beal is due against the salary cap for the next 5 years. And the only pro that I can come up with, other than Bradley Beal just no longer being on the Phoenix Suns, and that is a pro in and of itself, The one major pro is that by doing this, you get under both aprons. You not only get under the second apron, but you get under the first apron. And it opens up a world of possibilities, a world of choices for the Phoenix Suns. Tools in the toolbox. Maybe not for this year, but certainly for next year, to where they're going to have all those exemptions. They're going to be able to aggregate salaries. They're going to be able to trade picks. They're going to be able to do all the things they have not been able to do over the last couple of years at a time where they need to be flexible, at a time when they need to have those resources and tools available to build this roster. There's a lot of work that needs to be done. So that's the pro. It's the only pro. And you get to the cons list. And the cons list is pretty easy for me. Said this last week. Had a bit of a mini rant about it. I think this would be a massive mistake to take what would be a 2-year problem and turn it into a 5-year problem. And the reason why I think it would be a mistake is because it would confirm something that worries me about this new front office setup for the Phoenix Suns. I start to get worried that they're on a different timeline than all of us. I start to get worried that they are viewing this situation differently than we are. They certainly are viewing it differently than I view it if they're going to waive and stretch Bradley Beal, get under those first and second aprons, and then use all those tools in the toolbox to try to build a competitive roster over the next 2 seasons to try to be right back in the mix. We are seeing this differently. We are looking at this piece of art, and we have 2 different interpretations. This team is not a contender over the next 2 years. This team is not going to, no matter what they do, getting under the first apron, getting under the second apron, having all those things available to them, being able to have more wiggle room to retool this roster. All those are great things. Still not in a position to where they can use all of those things and be a championship contender, be a Western Conference playoff contender when you look at where Oklahoma City is at, where Houston is at, where San Antonio is at, where Denver's at, where the Lakers are going to be at over the next couple of years. You're not playing in that sandbox right now. You can play in that sandbox, but 3 years down the road. Not this year and not next year. The year after is when you should be able to reopen a window. And instead, by waiving and stretching Bradley Beal, by getting him to give back some of the money, by getting him to a place where you can buy him out, waive and stretch it so it stays under the 15% of the cap, and kicking this can down the road for 5 years. That means when we're doing this program 3 years from now, we will still be talking about Bradley Beal's money being on the books for the Phoenix Suns, working against them. I don't want to hear that the cap's going up. I don't want to hear that the cap's going up 7 to 8% every year. There were people around the league that thought it was going to go up 10% this year, and it didn't. So I don't care about your projections. You can take your projections and you can throw them in the trash. Nothing about the cap going up is guaranteed. So if you are factoring in a certain level of growth, what happens if that growth misses the mark a little bit? What happens instead of 8%, it's 6%? Doesn't feel like a big difference, but it could mean the world to the Phoenix Suns when considering that they are buying out Bradley Beal for the next 5 seasons. I think it would be a mistake to not just take the medicine. This still proves to me an owner who has not learned his lessons from the roster that he tried to build when he first got here. An owner that still thinks the right way to do this is the quick way, to just spend a lot of money, to keep going back into the aprons, to acquire more players. What worries me is that in a not too distant future, we're going to be back here talking about a big 3 being put together by this ownership and by this organization in pursuit of winning a championship. That all of the talk of the alignment just going to be a fancy buzzword and a funny drop for us here on this program. It's not going to actually be the change that was promised when we were promised the alignment. This worries me. This concerns me. Because you're taking what could be a big 2-year problem and turning it into an annoying 5-year problem. An annoying 5-year problem. Take your medicine. Take the lumps. Admit the mistake and take just a small little bit of pain over 2 seasons, then just extrapolating the pain over 5 years And then long after Bradley Beal is gone, he is still having an impact on the roster that you are able to build. This would be, in many regards, the first misstep from Brian Gregory and the Phoenix Suns in this new chapter.
That's what I was going to say. To me, it feels like their first glaring, obvious mistake. And obviously there could be mistakes, but to this point, they followed the book of what experts think they should have done.
Right. I don't know if Jordan Ott's a good head coach or not, right? I don't know, but I like the process. I like Jordan Ott. I think they got that right.
Who knows what Malawatch is going to be,
right.
but I like the pick. And
right.
He was valued there. And all of those things.
Process over results. I like the process of both of those things. I don't like this process at all.
This is the first glaring misstep to me. But I don't think it's one that we didn't see coming. And I say that because they're so strategic and this is a retool, not a rebuild. It means that you want to be relevant this year. They weren't willing to take the pain in 1 year and be irrelevant for a year because that is the rebuild word that they don't want to use. And they are very clear. This is not a rebuild. And they are aligned.
The alignment.
On the fact that we're in a retool. And so if they were keeping consistent with that philosophy, then I think this was their move that they were going to make, whether I agree with it or disagree with it. Unless they were going to trade him, this was the only move that made sense for a retool.
You said there at the beginning that you thought this was their plan all along, that this is what they wanted to do from the beginning. A little bit later on in this hour of the program, I am going to say why it is further proof that I think this is a misstep if what you said is true. 480-864-1060, the phone number for you to join us here today on the program. We've also got you over on the KDUS AM 1060 YouTube live stream. You can hop in, chat with us, share your thoughts. Maybe you can't pick up the phone, be on the phone while you're at work, you're on your lunch break. You can watch us on YouTube. You can type away over there. We always like to shout out some of the comments throughout the course of the show. When we come back, the MLB trade deadline is all over the place, and the Diamondbacks are to thank for that. That's next. The lunch break, KDUS, AM 1060.
Join in on the Sports Zoo on your ride home from work with Dave Rooster Bierstein. Join Rooster as he lays down what's happening around sports and makes it clear what's on his mind.
Oh, my.
Catch the day's craziest stories and some of the latest numbers from the sports books across the valley. The Sports Zoo with Dave Rooster Bierstein.
Yeah, I think that's kind of a wild option.
Weekdays, 5 to 6 p.m. on KDUS AM 1060 and on the KDUS 1060 app.
Aloha! Dreaming of sandy beaches and ocean breezes? JTV's Tropical Treasure Sweepstakes could make that dream come true. Enter for your chance to win a fabulous Hawaiian getaway for two with luxury accommodations, airfare, and spending cash. Plus, just for entering, get $30 off your next qualifying JTV purchase of at least $99 when you opt in for emails. Don't miss out. Visit jtv.com/sweeps and enter by August 3rd. JTV, where paradise awaits.
Phoenix, are you ready to ascend? Bring me the horizon. USA Ascension Program, Part 1.
Every sky will build, my friend.
Taking over Footprint Center, October 2nd, with special guest
Crawling from hell.
Motionless in White, The Plot in You, and Amira El Fiki. On sale now at livenation.com. Bring me the horizon. Presented by the Big Red Radio.
What we love about our ability to help patients at QC Kinetics is seeing their pure delight at finally being able to do the things they enjoy without pain.
I had a patient start treatment with me. He wanted to be able to be active again and do some of his sports that he really enjoyed.
Dr. Ashley Caravelli, a medical director for QC Kinetics, treats patients with chronic joint pain using their body's own biologics. The goal? Get them back to living their best lives without surgery or harmful drugs.
He came back and he goes, what I wasn't expecting was the ability to play on the floor with my grandchildren. Even just saying it now, I have goosebumps because it's changing those small moments that you take for granted.
Don't let joint pain rob you of those moments. See if you're a candidate for QC Kinetics regenerative treatments.
It just warms my heart to be able to help people live the life they want to live and get those small moments back.
Call QC Kinetics 602-691-6641. That's 602-691-6641. 602-691-6641.
I'm Dan Patrick, and this is Above the Noise. Aaron Rodgers says this is it. 1 year in Pittsburgh. One final ride. But with Rodgers, the final word is rarely ever final. The 41-year-old quarterback says he'll retire after this season. But let's not forget, this is the same guy who spent months waffling on whether he'd return at all, let alone where he'd play. His decision-making process has become as much a part of his legacy as his arm talent. And maybe that's the real reason why we shouldn't rush to believe him. Rodgers is a 4-time MVP, but he still only has 1 Super Bowl ring. If the Steelers get close or even win it all, hard to imagine him walking away. If they fall short, the second ring still dangles just out of reach. Rodgers' old mentor, Brett Favre, knew a thing or two about retirement indecision. Maybe Rodgers will follow the same script. 1 year in Pittsburgh? Maybe. But if we've learned anything about Aaron Rodgers, it's that the story is never over until he decides. I'm Dan Patrick, and this is Above the Noise. Rapid radios are the official walkie-talkie of the Dan Patrick Show. You can reach your aging parents anywhere at any time with Rapid Radio's push-to-talk devices, providing clear contact nationwide on an LTE network. 100% private, no subscriptions ever. Visit rapidradios.com. I have a limited time offer. Visit rapidradios.com to save up to 60%. Get free shipping from Michigan. Use the promo code RADIO for an extra 5% off. Rapid Radios. What would you pay for peace of mind? How about $1 a day? That's what happens with the professional monitoring plans from Simply Safe. No contracts, no hidden fees, true home security that you're going to have that's proactive, not just reactive. Old school security systems only react once damage is done. Simply Safe is different, designed to help stop crime before it starts. Protect what matters most. Get 50% off your Simply Safe system with professional monitoring. Plus, first month is free. SimplySafeDan.com. There's no safe like Simply Safe.
The Varsity Sports Show with Vince D'Alicio is your hub for everything high school and college sports. Join Vince and friends as they give you the full picture on student athletes and where they're heading. Live interviews with coaches across the valley.
Asking some of the tough questions.
Varsity recaps and in-depth interviews with tomorrow's sports stars. The Varsity Sports Show with Vince D'Alicio. Live every Saturday morning from 9 to 11 a.m. Here on KDUS AM 1060 and on the KDUS 1060 app.
The MLB trade deadline, 24 days away. Certainly appears as if the Diamondbacks are going to be sellers at the deadline. But this will they, won't they game that the Diamondbacks have been playing over the last couple of weeks has thrown the entire MLB trade cycle on its head. We are used to the Diamondbacks. Corbin Carroll great at this. Ketel Marte, Geraldo Perdomo, being chaotic on the base paths, being a chaotic baseball team, right? Creating chaos has been a phrase associated with the Diamondbacks over the last couple of years. A team that loves to engineer chaos on the field to put other teams in weird spots. Well, the Diamondbacks, whether they meant to or not, whether they mean to or not, are creating that exact same chaos, yet this time it's off the diamond. And it's in the front offices across all of baseball. Because the chaos that they are creating is they hold a majority of the cards. This was a standard 52-card deck. I would say maybe 40 of the 52 cards belong to Mike Hazen and the Arizona Diamondbacks. When you look up and down the list of who may or may not be available, the Diamondbacks could have 2 of the best bats available at the deadline in Josh Naylor and Eugenio Suarez. They could have 2 sought-after starters in Merrill Kelly and Zach Gallen. They could have a reliever that generates some buzz in Shelby Miller. And yet, if the Diamondbacks chose to tell all of those teams that they are not interested in being sellers and that they are going to go for it, it dramatically changes the market. What happens to Jarren Duran's value in Boston if Suarez and Naylor are off the market? What happens to Sandy Alcantara's market down in Miami if Merrill Kelly and Zach Gallen aren't available? What does the reliever market do if Shelby Miller is removed? All of those prices then become inflated, and it becomes more difficult to buy, and it becomes much easier to sell, and the market is going to favor those sellers, and it is going to drive up the prices. Whereas if the Diamondbacks choose to be sellers, the prices are still going to be high, but for the Diamondbacks, because they have all the top pieces. If you want a left-handed power bat in your lineup, are you calling anybody other than the Arizona Diamondbacks first to talk about? Josh Naylor? If you need a third baseman or a right-handed bat that can be your DH, are you calling up anybody else other than the Arizona Diamondbacks ahead of the deadline? Is there any other team that you would be interested in discussing with first than Mike Hazen and the Arizona Diamondbacks? This team is the center of it all. Jason Stark wrote a story in The Athletic this morning, talking about some headlines, some takeaways, where things stand right now ahead of the deadline. And the first takeaway he had was he used one word to describe the deadline: confusing, confused. And the reason why he used that word? The Arizona Diamondbacks. And this wonder aloud, are they going to be buyers or are they going to be sellers?
I can't remember a time or a team that has had this much influence on the trade deadline.
Well, it tells you how good this team was supposed to be.
How good they were supposed to be, but it's also crazy. I mean, we are talking about, them moving Naylor, them moving Suarez, them moving Kelly and Gallen and Shelby Miller. And you look at it, they're all on one-year deals. Everything expires after this year.
And that's why those guys are the most attractive, because it doesn't really impact 2026 because you were already going to be dealing with these guys potentially being gone.
And so I just don't remember a single team having this much influence. And it's really, really going to be interesting to see, one, how the D-backs handle it, but two, they could come out of here with some home runs on returns.
The story from Jason Stark titled "What We've Learned in the First Half of the MLB Season, 10 Mid-Season Takeaways." And I said confused. The word that he actually used was complicated. But his first thing was a word for the 2025 trade deadline: complicated. And the picture underneath it is Josh Naylor, what appears to be hitting a home run. Based on the swing and where he's looking, I can't see where the ball landed, but it certainly looks like he's hitting a home run in this picture. That's the way I'm going to choose to interpret this photo. But talking about the Diamondbacks, and this is what Stark has to say. Quote, "They're built to win and still trying to win. But if the next 3 weeks don't go well, they could shake up this deadline by dangling the likes of impending free agents Josh Naylor, Eugenio Suarez, Zach Gallen, and Merrill Kelly, among others." And then Stark has a quote from an American League executive. This isn't a scout, somebody who works in a front office that's doing the work on trying to piece together whether or not they're going to be buyers, sellers, trading, all these names. Quote, "Josh Naylor could be the best bat traded this month." End quote. The Diamondbacks are at the center of all of this. To me, this is a no-brainer. You are going to be, I'll use your phrase, producer Evan, the belle of the ball. You are going to be the person that everybody wants to dance with at the party. Everybody wants to take a turn dancing with the Arizona Diamondbacks at the trade deadline because they've got a bunch of pieces that can help everybody. Need a reliever? Shelby Miller. Need a power bat? Josh Naylor, Eugenio Suarez, take your pick. Need a starter? Merrill Kelly, Zach Gallen, take your pick. They have everything. One-stop shop. Take advantage of it if you're the Arizona Diamondbacks. Strike at this situation to set yourself up. Let's steal a word. Let's steal a word. This is a chance to retool. This is a chance to not give up on 2026. This is a chance to do what the Suns think they should do. The Diamondbacks are a lot closer to being competitive in 2026 than the Suns are. The blueprint that the Suns apparently are trying to follow is the exact blueprint that Mike Hazen should follow and execute. The Suns have misjudged where they are at. The Diamondbacks, if they sell at this deadline and they prioritize MLB pieces that are close, prospects that are close to the big league level, players that can hopefully help them 2026, maybe some prospects for 2027. You get guys that are close to being able to contribute, and you spend whatever money you have available in free agency to fill the holes in your rotation, to fill a hole here or there with a bat. Spend that money a little bit more wisely this go around. I feel way more confident about the Diamondbacks being relevant in 2026 than I do the Phoenix Suns being relevant in 2026. That is what is in front of this squad. That is what is in front of this organization. An opportunity to, even in a season of disappointment, in a season of failure, this has failed, this has missed the mark, you can make this a positive. You can come out of this and say, okay, we did not play our best baseball. We were supposed to be a playoff team and we weren't. But we made the right decision at the deadline and we sold, and we have now set ourselves up well for 26 and beyond. You can turn this bad season into a positive. You've got 24 days to do it, though. I want to come in here on the 31st and talk about a team that made the right moves to the deadline and got a good return. I want to talk on the 1st, 2nd, 3rd about this team setting themselves up well for 2026. But if they drop out, they go on a run, they win 15 games in a row between now and there's an All-Star break, so I don't think there's 15 games. They win 9 games in a row between now and the All-Star or the trade deadline. And they choose to not sell, changes the dynamics of everything.
They hold all the cards.
The entire deadline gets changed if they choose to not be sellers. If they choose to be sellers, they change the game again because now they're the team everybody wants to talk to.
How many times do you have a team have 2 offensive players, both with over an 800 OPS from both sides of the plate? You have a left-handed hitter and a right-handed hitter, as well as multiple starting pitchers and a bullpen piece that can get moved.
You have an all-star. You have an all-star in Eugenio Suarez. You could potentially have an all-star in Merrill Kelly before things are all said and done. You could have 2 all-stars on the move. You're definitely going to have 1 all-star on the move if you choose to sell.
This feels like a season in 5 years. In 2030, you look back and say, hey, D-backs crushed it after what was a pretty disappointing start to a season in 2025. In 2025. Gosh, I don't know what happened there.
Feels like, it's going to be a drop here probably by the end of the week. Feels like Oklahoma City trading Paul George, no?
Yeah. It is. It could have that type of impact on this franchise.
The Oklahoma City Thunder traded Paul George. They tried to make that work, tried to be competitive and relevant, realized Paul wasn't staying, wanted to go to LA, and so they traded him to LA. They got back an MVP, an SGA. They got back a bunch of other assets that they then moved those guys and started working it and just started trading, and it built the roster that you saw just win the NBA championship. Now, I don't think the Diamondbacks have a Paul George type player, but in totality, the stuff that they could get back if they prioritize it in the right way could set them up to be a World Series team in a couple of years. I truly believe that. 480-864-1060, the phone number for you to join us here today on the program. Also got you over on the KDUS AM 1060 YouTube live stream. When we come back, we mentioned it that if they wave and stretch Bradley Beal, they can get under the aprons. That's nice, but what are they going to do with it? That's next. The lunch break. KDUS AM 1060.
James Out West, your home for sports down here in the desert. Join James and Pat the Stat Guy as they recap the weekend and dive deep into the numbers for the NFL, NBA, college sports, and more.
That's 5 seasons of 1,200 yards.
Player stats, team numbers, and contracts are just the start of the discussion for James and Pat.
He started 815 career games. He threw 749 complete games.
There's no hiding when it comes to stats. It's James Out West every Monday night from 6 to 7 p.m. right here on KTUS AM 1060 and on the KTUS 1060 app.
Every summer, across the valley, hundreds of our homeless neighbors die because of the heat. This is tragic, and it is preventable. None of us can stop the heat, but together we can save lives. With incredible partners like you, Phoenix Rescue Mission is able to provide life-saving water and critical care to our neighbors in need. Join us this summer and make a difference. Learn more at phoenixrescuemission.org/code red.
The Offspring. Supercharged worldwide in 25. One unforgettable summer night. The Offspring, live in Phoenix. With special guests Jimmy Eat World and Newfound Glory. Playing Talking Stick Resort Amphitheater August 27th. Get tickets now at livenation.com. 3 great bands, 1 incredible show. Part of the America First Credit Union Concert Series.
Shop everyday low prices on a huge selection of home furnishings at Living Spaces. Find everything you need to bring comfort, style, and functionality to your space for less. With modern sofas starting at $295, stylish queen beds from just $150, and statement-making dining sets starting at $295. So you can elevate your home with pieces that fit your style and your budget. We even offer clearance deals that are up to 60% off. Plus, get free shipping as soon as next day. Save big every day, only at Living Spaces.
Living Spaces.
Get more summer for your dollar with 4 slams for under $10 each at Denny's, like the new Red, White, and Berry Everyday Value Slam. It's summer on a plate with blueberry stuffed pancakes topped with strawberries, and for under $10. Valid at participating locations. Limited time offer. Additional restrictions and surcharges may apply at some locations.
Geico knows there's a home you and a road you. Right now you're hearing home you. He's not in an RV. He's at home, watching the great outdoors on TV.
For the lone gazelle, there sadly is no escape.
Meanwhile, Road U always has an escape in an RV covered with Geico's added 24/7 emergency roadside service, so he can explore more of the great outdoors in real life, except maybe the ravine where the gazelle got stuck. Road U should avoid that. For more Road U time, get more with Geico.
Global Credit Union, how can I help you?
It's one of those voice prompts.
Representative! Good morning. How can I help?
Wait, is this a real person?
It's 2 a.m.
We're here to help members 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year.
Impossible.
At Global, possible. Learn more at globalcu.org. Global Credit Union, your world of financial possibilities.
Hey, Tempe, your new Sam's Club is opening soon.
I love the savings that Sam's Club has to offer.
It makes it easy to feed a family of 5.
That gas pump there is amazing. The scan and go option just sets Sam's Club apart.
Today's the day to join the club. Your club, Sam's Club.
Attention all clones. The Jim Rome Show is here for you every day here on KTUS AM 1060.
Lots to get done. Welcome to the program.
Listen in as Rome dives into the biggest sports headlines of the day. From final scores, player contracts and trades, team prospects, and even a spicy take or two. The Jim Rome Show, 1 to 4 p.m. every weekday here on KTUS AM 1060.
That's the trick.
Online at KTUS1060.com and on the KTUS 1060 app.
Back on the lunch break. KDUS AM 1060, Chris Schubert with you. Hour number 2 of the program. We've got you till the top of the hour. Then Jim Rome got you till 1 to 4. Producer Evan said something earlier this hour of the program that is sparking this conversation right now. When at the top of the hour, we discussed Bradley Beal's pending buyout that many are assuming is going to be him giving back some money in order for that contract to be waived and stretched over the next 5 seasons. Producer Evan made a comment that I'm paraphrasing here, so you can correct me if I'm wrong in my interpretation, but that This was their plan all along, that this was part of their process, that they always knew that they were going to buy out Bradley Beal.
Unless they could get a deal done, which I just don't think that they were going to do. This always felt like something that they knew they were going to have to do.
If that's the case, if buying out Bradley Beal, waiving and stretching him over the next 5 years, getting under both aprons was always going to be the end goal here. And I know you probably wanted to make the phone calls. You probably wanted to see if you could trade him because that was an easy way to get out of the $110 million. And yeah, you had to wait to get to a point where Bradley Beal was more willing to free up the $14 million if that's the way this goes. But if this was always the plan and you were always comfortable with waiving and stretching him, why didn't you do it before free agency started? Why didn't you do it so that you had all the tools in the toolbox at the start of free agency? Why didn't you do it so that you could build a roster that, remember, you're not rebuilding. You're retooling. You're waiving and stretching because you don't care about the cap implications about 5 years down the road because you're probably going to try to be competitive, relevant, try to win over the next couple of years. Well, if that's the case, why didn't you do this right away so that you could splash around in free agency? A trade is one thing. A trade takes 2, 3, sometimes 7 dance partners to make a trade happen. A buyout takes 1, 2 parties. Really just one party in this instance, Bradley Beal. Hey, Brad, you willing to give back $13.9 million, yes or no? Now, maybe he did drag his feet. Perhaps that's the case. And so I'll cut the Suns some slack if that ends up being true. But all I can look at right now is that they're going to buy him out. They're going to waive and stretch him, and he's going to give back money. So if that option was available 2 weeks ago, if that option was available earlier, why wasn't it done earlier? Why wasn't it done so that you can use these newfound tools? Because if it was me and I had this idea that I'm not rebuilding, I'm just retooling, wouldn't I want to have all the tools when I start to retool? What good is it being under both aprons other than the money that you save? But that shouldn't be a factor for this owner because he's been willing to spend it in the past. Why would you get under the aprons if you're not going to then use all the resources to build a better roster? Am I missing something?
No. And why wouldn't you? It just feels as if they thought they were going to be able to find a trade partner.
Mistake number one.
They continued to stall until they did. And now they're too late to the party.
What about everything that we all went through from the end of December through February 6th at the trade deadline told you that anybody was going to want to trade for Bradley Beal? We did a long run from December through February of Jimmy Butler rumors and Bradley Beal rumors and waiving the no trade clause and where he wouldn't want to go, where he would want to go. Are those teams interested? We did it all. What made you thought? What made you think that you could find a trade partner this summer? Now, maybe there's a world where the Suns looked at the free agent class and they said, there's no rush on this because we don't like this class. We don't want to spend big dollars right now. There's not a player out there that we need to have those tools available. We just need to make sure that we get the tools available in the toolbox. Perhaps that's what's happening here. But remember, this team is just retooling. They're not rebuilding. They're going to try to be somewhat competitive next year in some ways. Now, maybe after they trade Royce O'Neal and Grayson Allen and Nick Richards, because there's rumors out there that they are accepting offers on those guys right now, maybe this roster looks a little different and they feel comfortable. We got under the apron. We prioritized some pieces back in these deals. Everything's great. Everything's fine. We're good. Now we've got the resources. We can spend big in 2026. We like that free agent class better. Okay. Here's what I will say, Producer Evan. While I'm confused at the wave and stretch, I don't like the wave and stretch. I don't like the timing of the wave and stretch. I don't like any of it. I'm going to give Brian Gregory the benefit of the doubt. The hiring of Jordan Knott, the trade of Kevin Durant, how he moved on draft night. That's enough things in a row to where, okay.
No, I think if I given you a piece of paper 6 months ago that said Jordan Knott is going to interview Brian Gregory is going to hire Jordan Knott after interviewing 15 plus head coaches. They're going to trade Kevin Durant and receive the 10th overall pick back. They're going to trade for Mark Williams on draft night. They're going to pick Malawach at 10. They're going to go through their process. And then threw in the Bradley Beal. They're going to wave and stretch Bradley Beal at the end. I think he would be like, okay, I'll take that.
I worry about the 5 years. I worry about shortening your window or giving you less resources down the road. But I liked the process to hire the coach. I liked the way they landed in a good spot with the Kevin Durant trade. They made the move. They didn't panic and say, you know what, we're just going to keep him. They made the move. They got the 10th overall pick. They turned it into a good player. They got some luck on draft night. Good for them. So because of all of that, because of all the moves that they've made have been, so far, I like the process. I like what we're doing here. I'll give you the benefit of the doubt that you've got a plan here that you can do this right now and it's going to pay dividends down the road. I'm skeptical, but I will give the benefit of the doubt because it was one of the first things we said after his press conference, rooting for Brian Gregory. Want to see him succeed, even though he's a first-time GM, even though he has no experience, even though we don't like the hire, want him to succeed. So I'm going to root for this to work. I'm skeptical of kicking this can down the road for 5 years and watching this team get all these tools. I'm worried that they're not going to use the tools correctly.
And I think that's a fair worry. But for now, and attacking this current offseason the way they have, I can accept the Bradley Beal move as, okay, that's their first mistake, but I thought there'd be more.
You thought that they weren't going to hire the right head coach. You thought they weren't going to get a decent return for Kevin Durant. You thought they weren't going to be good at drafting. You were worried that you weren't going to be able to see the vision. You were worried that it was just going to be too much of Matt Ishbia just going crazy. We haven't seen any of that. Is it perfect? No. A lot of work still needs to be done. Trending upwards, arrow pointing in the right direction? I think so far I could say yes to that question. 480-864-1060, the phone number for you to join us here today on the program. Got one more for you before we are out of here. The leftovers, all the stories that we didn't get to throughout the course of the program. We'll get to them next. It's the lunch break, KDUS, AM 1060.
Ready to tackle each morning with the best sports information coming at you?
I'm going to take a logical approach.
Get that weekday mornings on KDUS AM 1060 from 6 to 9 a.m. with the Dan Patrick Show. Dan Patrick, the Danettes, sports icons, sports legends, celebrities, poll questions. The Dan Patrick Show has it all.
It's a crapshoot.
Be sure to lock your dials to AM 1060 or 100.7 HD2 from 6 to 9 a.m. Mornings just got better.
This story is about us. I'm Ultima Morgan of Morgan & Morgan. Every time one of my children started driving, it was terrifying. I am quite aware of the dangers being on the road. Thousands of accidents happen across the country. We see it every day. These families' lives will be changed in an instant. We fight for these families as if they were our own. We've become America's largest injury law firm by winning cases just like these. If you've been injured in a car accident, call us.
Injured? Dial pound law or visit forthepeople.com for an office near you.
Brian Adams, Roll with the Punches Tour 2025. A night full of hits, live at PHX Arena, Saturday, November 15th. With special guest Pat Benatar and Neil Giraldo. Get tickets now at livenation.com.
Babe, I thought you were putting together a box of donations for me to drop off at Goodwill.
I am. I'm reliving my rocker days in the process.
That leather jacket hasn't been your style since the 90s?
You're right. I guess it's time to pass it on to someone new.
Don't worry. I still think you're cool. Let's go to Goodwill.
Get a 20% off coupon when you donate one full bag of usable goods by August 31st. Ask your donation attendant for the QR to scan and claim your digital coupon.
The garage door springs that come standard with most homes don't last. And when they fail, it's not just inconvenient, it's dangerous. Hi, I'm Tommy Mello at A1 Garage Door Service. Our springs are the toughest in the industry, backed by our lifetime warranty. That's right. Fix them once and you're covered for life. Don't risk your family's safety or your peace of mind. Let A1 replace your springs before they become a problem. From repairs to upgrades, it's A1 from day one.
A1 from day one.
Join in on the Sports Zoo on your ride home from work with Dave Rooster Bierstein. Join Rooster as he lays down what's happening around sports and makes it clear what's on his mind.
Oh my.
Catch the day's craziest stories and some of the latest numbers from the sports books across the valley. The Sports Zoo with Dave Rooster Bierstein.
Yeah, I think that's kind of a wild option.
Weekdays 5 to 6 p.m. on KDUS AM 1060 and on the KDUS 1060 app.
Back to wrap up this edition of the Lunch Break here on KDUS AM 1060. We do so with the leftovers, all the stories we didn't get to throughout the course of the program. And it's been a couple of days since we've done a leftovers, so there could be a lot of things jammed in here. Producer Evan, what do you have for us today?
We will start with baseball. The Nationals have cleaned house.
A lot of baseball today.
A lot of baseball today.
A lot of baseball by
Just
itself.
July 4th feels like a baseball weekend.
Well,
in
yeah.
general.
It's the only sport being played.
Yeah.
Other than the hot dog eating contest.
Obviously, one of the great sports of all time. Joey Chestnut. Just another dominant performance.
Whatever.
He didn't hit the over of 76 and a half dogs.
No. He wasn't even close.
70 dogs.
70 and a half.
70 and a half dogs. I mean, he was out there and listen, if you were pulling away from people like that, I guess he would ease up.
No, see, that's the point.
He took the foot off the gas.
That tells me he didn't take it seriously, that it was a revenge game.
You don't think he was as upset?
I don't think he was as upset as I was on his behalf. Told me a lot.
So I just want to get this on the record. You are anti-Joey Chestnut.
I am now anti-Joey Chestnut, yes.
Yeah. See, that feels like a mistake.
Okay.
And, we'll get into that, but that feels like...
We'll save it for next year.
A mistake. But the Nationals cleaned house over the weekend.
Speaking of mistakes, this is a mistake.
Yeah. This is a huge mistake. I don't... Davey Martinez, I understand.
Exactly. We have not discussed this. I did not know you were bringing this up, but I was with some family and some friends. I was out of town over the weekend. And where we were, I completely was off the grid. I just chose to turn the brain off, not look at the phone, stay away from work. But where we were, I went to a food court and saw the bottom line on ESPN, and it said that the Nationals fired Rizzo and Martinez. And I said, okay, I can understand firing Davey. It's been there a long time. Maybe the message is getting lost. What more does Mike Rizzo have to do? He aced the Juan Soto trade.
Yes.
Nailed it.
I mean, you are watching this season. Mackenzie Gore is going to the All-Star game.
From that trade.
James Wood has been great.
From that trade.
CJ Abrams has been awesome.
From that trade.
I don't understand how you can look at this current roster and make that move. It is why, and I know they won a World Series in 2019. That is why they're a laughing stock.
You do it right before the draft too. So it's almost like, hey, thanks for doing all the draft prep for us. Here, don't let the door hit you on the way out. What a mistake this is. What more does Mike Rizzo have to do in terms of building a roster? What do you want Mike Rizzo to do? Offered Juan Soto a contract. Soto turned him down. Okay, well, now I've got to trade the guy. I've got to trade the kid because he doesn't want to play here. He won't sign the contract extension. I can't be the guy that lets Juan bleeping Soto hit free agency. So I'm going to trade him. And then he gets back a trade, and every piece is hit. Every piece has hit for the Washington Nationals. You watch the Washington Nationals, the way the roster is put together, Mike Rizzo, fingerprints all over it. Yet we need a fresh voice in that department. You need a fresh voice with a manager because you've got some young kids. Davey's been there for a while. I can understand that. And did you see who's the interim manager? Did you see who they announced as the interim manager?
No.
Type into the little Google machine over there, Washington Nationals interim manager. I can understand making a change there because you want a fresh voice and he's been there for a long time. But do you need a fresh voice, a fresh vision in front office, in the GM chair when That GM has put together this roster that's pretty solid. It's young. So, of course, there's going to be some lumps, and I know they're not playing well. But he put together this roster.
Miguel Cairo.
Miguel Cairo, the new interim manager of the Washington Nationals.
Davey Martinez, I get it. Rizzo makes no sense.
Makes zero sense.
Zero sense. Story today from The Athletic that did the best players that didn't make the All-Star break at each position.
Okay.
So I'll walk you through. I want to hear what you have to say on some of these. At catcher, by the way, this is not league-based, so this is just, it can be from either league.
So one player per position, American League or National League.
Yep. At catcher, Carlos Narvaez from the Boston Red Sox.
He's having a pretty good year up there, isn't he?
Yes.
Yeah. He's been
Catcher's
solid
tough.
Catcher's tough, especially in the American League. Like, Cal Raleigh hit more home runs over the weekend.
He's now on pace for 64, by the way.
Yeah, he's going to get over 60, I think.
I hope he breaks the AL home run record.
Could you imagine a catcher breaking Aaron Judge's single-season home run record? Could you imagine? I don't think it's going to happen, but could you imagine? Okay, Narvaez, you're not putting him over Cal Raleigh, but okay, fair enough.
He's been good.
Yeah.
Catcher's a weird position to pick.
Tough position to pick.
At first base, they went with Michael Busch of the Chicago Cubs.
The first baseman for the American League was, I know we voted. Didn't we vote for Jonathan Aranda for the official lunch break?
We did, but it was not.
It was not Aranda. And then we had who in the National League? Who did we give it to? I forget. We didn't give it to Pete. Oh, we put Freddie Freeman, didn't we?
Yes. Yeah, we did.
So, I mean.
So, listen, first place is a tough place to crack the lineup. And in the American League, it's Vladimir Guerrero Jr.
Yeah, and you've got Jonathan Aranda. You've got Pete Alonso. And I know Pete is a reserve, and Aranda's, I think, a reserve as well. So, I guess this is taking into account players that weren't named reserves, so they're completely off the list.
This kind of spurred me like, oh, wow, has Michael Busch been that good this year?
Okay.
I looked into it. He's been awesome. He's been awesome. Have you seen how good he's been this year?
I do not have Michael Busch's numbers committed to memory.
So he's got a 3.4 WAR this year.
That is good. I know that.
He's hitting 297.
That's also good.
18 homers.
That's good.
An OPS of 950 and
Also,
an OPS plus at 170.
That'll play. All of those numbers, that'll play.
I was shocked reading that.
Yeah, well, when you think of the Cubs, right, you think of Kyle Tucker. You think of Seiya Suzuki. That's who you think of offensively for that team.
At second base, sticking in Chicago, Nico Horner.
Wow.
Yeah, that one surprised me too.
A lot of Cub love.
A lot of Cub love.
Interesting.
Staying in the Midwest, at third base is Zach McKinstry for the Detroit Tigers.
Tigers are a good story.
They're a great story. They're the best team.
Yeah.
At shortstop is the National League hits leader, Trey Turner.
I mean, you're the Philly guy. I'll defer to you on that one.
Listen, he's been good this year, and he frustrates me like no
all
other.
The time. Yeah, no.
All the time.
You're constantly pacing around the morning meeting talking about Trey Turner.
He is he's been better in the field this year, but he is as bad as a fielding shortstop as I've watched for how good his bat is.
And he's supposed to be not bad defensively.
I don't know how he's that fast on the base path, but has such little range at the shortstop position.
It is a weird thing. Yeah.
It's unbelievable. But with that being said, he's hitting over 300. He leads the league in hits. At the outfield, they did 4. Do you want to guess the first name?
Juan Soto.
Juan Soto of the New York Mets. Andy Pajes of the Los Angeles Dodgers. Seiya Suzuki of the Chicago Cubs, who's also been great. And I can never say his last name, but it's Rafaela from Boston.
Yeah, okay. Yes. You're
sorry. Can never say his first name.
Yes. Rafaela up in Boston. Yeah. You're good. Yes. Yeah, those are 4 great choices. A lot of good baseball being played right now.
A lot of good baseball.
A lot of good baseball players. I think Soto is probably the biggest overall snub so far, but he's in the final vote, isn't he? He's in the final 4 last spot, something they do.
Yeah.
He's going to win that by a landslide.
He will. He'll get the last spot.
For a fan vote. So he's going to get the last spot. So he's not going to be a snub for very much longer.
A lot of trades in the NBA, a lot of movement in the NBA so far this offseason.
I think you and I are members of the Utah Jazz now. I think.
Yes. So the Utah Jazz.
They made another trade this morning.
Yes.
I came back from where I was. Got on a plane this morning. Got off the plane. Turned my phone back on. First thing I saw, Utah made another trade.
So this is a story on ESPN, NBA trade grades, breaking down the most impactful offseason deals. So we'll start with, this came out, by the way, 20 minutes ago.
Okay, so we feel safe.
I got an alert on my phone. It was like, oh, that's a leftover.
Okay,
story.
good.
So Clippers, they get John Collins. The Miami Heat got Norman Powell, and the Utah Jazz got Kevin Love, Kyle Anderson, and a 2027 second round pick in a 3-team deal.
Also known as, hey, Utah, you have cap space. Can you take on all the bad contracts that will make this work? Thanks.
Yep. Yeah, exactly.
You see what Kevin Love said about that?
No.
He something along the lines, I'm paraphrasing, of never thought I would be used as a cash dump or something, like, because literally his contract was put in there to just make the money work.
Yeah. Unbelievable from a guy who's had such a great career, but that's just how the NBA works now. The Rockets and the Wizards did a deal. So Cam Whitmore is headed to the Wizards. The Rockets get a couple second round picks. Duncan Robinson gets traded to Detroit for Simon Fontecchio.
The NBA
never confident in that one.
The NBA just goes absolutely crazy with trades.
It does,
and I think we just scratched the surface.
There's this is a multiple page story. That is why whenever I post a social clip, I say #ThisLeague.
Jim Rome, it's coming up next. Everybody, have a great rest of your Monday. We'll talk to you tomorrow. See ya!
AM 1060 KDUS Tempe Phoenix and KSLX HD2 Scottsdale Phoenix.